Carolinas, where each soul is quietly fading away every single day. You think the Carolinas are all about sunny beaches and the American dream? Then ask yourself, have you ever seen a paradise slowly rotting from within? Like, subscribe, and join us as we uncover the truth behind the glossy surface. North Carolina or South Carolina, places remembered by many as the peaceful, opportunity-filled South, a perfect getaway. But look a little closer, and you'll see weathered faces, worn-out blankets under trees, makeshift tents lining the sidewalks, and silent figures whose presence quietly moves your heart. North Carolina is breaking apart, not because of natural disasters, war, or storms, but because of something far more silent, a housing crisis and deepening poverty. In a country often seen as the land of opportunity, waking up homeless is becoming an all-too-common reality. The video "The Carolinas Are Dying, One Broken Soul at a Time" captures this truth with subtlety and thought-provoking honesty. We often think of the homeless as people who didn't try, who made bad choices or isolated themselves from society. But that's not the truth. The story of the Carolinas shows us the opposite. Homelessness can happen to someone much closer than we think. They may have been nurses, teachers, factory workers, the person sitting next to you at a coffee shop, or the one commuting beside you every morning. We still have homes to return to, but they don't. And it's not because they're lazy. It's because the system failed to catch them, because their income couldn't keep up with rising rent, because of an illness, an accident, or a small mistake that no one was there to help them recover from. The video opens with raw, everyday images: a woman washing her hair on the sidewalk, a child clutching a lumpy blanket, a couple stacking bricks to brace against the wind. These aren't the struggles of some distant group, this is the reality unfolding right outside our front doors. You might ask, how did a place once seen as livable turn into a blind spot for the poor? Why, in 2025, while some spend thousands on vacations, are others fighting for a spot in an overnight shelter? The answers lie ahead, in the next chapters, where we'll uncover the hidden corners, the nameless faces, and those stranded on the sidelines by a system that forgot them. Hit like and subscribe, because we're just getting started, with stories that linger in the heart and remind us of our shared humanity. You may have walked right past them without noticing: the man leaning against a brick wall, the woman cradling her child asleep in the park, or the old pickup truck where a family of 4 calls home. Homelessness doesn't always look ragged. It could be someone who once had a steady job, paid their taxes, and lived a life just like yours. So what pushed them to the edge? In Charlotte, North Carolina's largest city, the average rent for a 1-bedroom apartment is over $1,400 a month, while the minimum wage remains under $8 an hour. According to a 2023 report by the North Carolina Housing Coalition, nearly 50% of renters spend more than 30% of their income on housing, an unsustainable financial burden. At that rate, it takes just one unexpected event, an accident, job loss, or divorce, to send an entire family out of their home. Over the past 10 years, the demand for affordable housing has doubled, yet the supply of subsidized units has increased by just over 15%. According to the Urban Institute, the waitlist for public housing in Charlotte has surpassed 34,000 applications. Many people have been waiting up to 5 years without any response. The issue isn't just the lack of housing, it's that much of the existing housing is no longer suitable. Many units don't meet basic sanitation standards, aren't safe, or are located in remote areas with no access to transportation or jobs. When having a roof over your head becomes a privilege instead of a basic need, the system has failed to protect its people. What makes this crisis even more severe is the rise of hidden homelessness, people who aren't sleeping on sidewalks but still have no permanent place to call home. A 2022 survey found that 30% of homeless individuals in North Carolina are living in cars, temporary shelters, or couch surfing with friends. They're not counted in official statistics, don't qualify for assistance, and remain almost invisible to the system. A 28-year-old woman named Tamara lived in her SUV with her young child for 9 months. She used to be a store manager, but after losing her job and then her home, she had no other choice. "I didn't want anyone to know I was living like this," she said. "I still went to the gym to shower, used food stamps to eat. I felt like I didn't exist." Have you ever seen an invisible person? Did you ever think you'd be commenting on something like this? Share your thoughts, because every comment isn't just a voice, it could be the first step in waking up a society that's been sleeping through someone else's pain. You can't talk about homelessness without addressing mental health, something that's far too often ignored. According to the National Alliance to End Homelessness, 25% of homeless individuals in the U.S. suffer from serious mental illnesses such as PTSD, chronic anxiety, or depression. In North Carolina specifically, a 2023 report from the state's Department of Health found that around 40% of the homeless population is living with one or more severe mental health conditions. Mental illness and homelessness go hand in hand. Someone struggling with emotional disorders can lose their job, their relationships, and eventually their home. But once they're living on the streets, access to healthcare becomes even more limited, their condition worsens, their behavior becomes more unstable, and society begins to stigmatize them. They become trapped in a vicious cycle with no clear way out. Alongside that is the issue of addiction, sometimes the cause, sometimes the result. Nearly 40% of homeless individuals in the Carolinas are affected by substance abuse, according to data from the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. When there's no way out, people often turn to something to numb the pain, and that something is often alcohol, tranquilizers, meth, or fentanyl. Yet the system doesn't have the tools in place to help them break free. North Carolina ranks among the bottom 10 states in the U.S. for mental health funding. Rehab centers and mental health clinics serve less than 50% of the actual demand. That means for every 2 people who need help, only 1 gets it. Some wounds can't be seen, yet they cut deeper than any visible scar. And the people carrying them are often the ones you pass by every day, without ever knowing their name. In a developed society, the welfare system should be a safety net that catches people before they fall too far. But in North Carolina, the holes in that system have become invisible traps. According to a report by the North Carolina Justice Center, only about 25% of those eligible for housing assistance actually receive it. That means 3 out of 4 people in need are left behind. To access assistance, people have to navigate complicated paperwork, long wait lists, and a lack of transparency in the approval process. Some wait as long as 18 months just to get an interview. Meanwhile, funding for support programs is constantly being slashed. In the past 5 years, the state budget for public housing has dropped by more than 30%, according to 2024 data from the Economic Policy Institute. It's not just housing, other safety net programs like food stamps, Medicaid, and mental health support are also stretched to their limits. With a rapidly growing population and an unstable economy, the system can no longer respond quickly. The poor are left relying on nonprofits, churches, and volunteer groups, organizations that often lack the long-term resources to meet the overwhelming need. You might think, at least there are community organizations. But even they are exhausted, fighting a losing battle against rising poverty. Shelter Home in Raleigh, which once had space for 100 people, now has to turn away over 200 applications each month due to overcrowding. Social workers are constantly working double shifts just to process paperwork and respond to emergencies. Yet even in that darkness, there are still glimmers of light. Let us take you to a true story, Sarah, a woman who walked through the shadows and found her way back to life. Her journey is proof that change is possible when society comes together and chooses to act. Sarah used to be a hard-working nurse in Raleigh. She lived a normal life, with a steady job, a small apartment, and dreams of starting a family. But an unexpected injury forced her to take months off work. As her savings ran out, the bills piled up, and her landlord started knocking on the door for rent. Sarah had no choice but to leave her apartment. With no family nearby, she moved into her old car, the only thing she had left. Every morning, Sarah would wake up early before anyone noticed, head to the local gym to wash her face and brush her hair, then search for places handing out free meals. On freezing winter nights, she sometimes wondered if she'd make it through to the next day. But then everything changed when she reached out to a local nonprofit, Carolina Cares. They didn't just offer her shelter, they provided mental health counseling, career guidance, and job placement support. With persistence and help at the right moment, Sarah regained her medical certification, found a new job, and after nearly a year, moved into a small apartment, where she cried tears of joy the first time she closed the door behind her. Sarah's story isn't rare, but it's proof that when society reaches out at the right moment, people can rise from even the deepest lows. No one should be left behind just because the system is too slow, or too indifferent, to care. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again on the next journey. When we say the Carolinas are dying, it's not a sensational headline, it's a warning. A place is slowly losing its soul, not to natural disasters, but to indifference. Yet even within the cracks, there is still hope. There's still Sarah. There are still organizations like Carolina Cares. And there are thousands of everyday people doing extraordinary things each day to help others hold on to their dignity. And now is the time for you and me to do more than just watch, it's time to take action. Share this video so more people can understand the reality happening right here in our own country. Leave a comment, speak your mind, your voice can help awaken an entire community. Support local organizations, or simply open your heart to someone you once passed by on the street.